Is Boston about to blow their most important draft in a decade? The 2025 NBA Draft isn't just another night of picks, and potential for the Boston Celtics sits a ticking time bomb, with championship windows slamming shut faster than ever, and a roster walking a tightrope between dominance and decay. Brad Stevens stands at a career-defining fork in the road. To mid-round picks might not scream franchise shifter, but in a draft class littered with hidden gems and underrated ceilings, a single misstep could mean disaster, or a bold move could light the fuse on a second dynasty. So, who must Boston gamble on to reshape the future before it's too late? Player archetype. Think a brutalist hybrid between Kevon Looney's IQ, Jonas Valanciunas' frame, and Jusuf Nurkić's mean streak. But here's the twist. Sorber isn't flashy. He's not a highlight machine. And that's exactly why he's terrifying. In a league obsessed with unicorns and stretchy 7-footers, Sorber is the anti-trend, the blunt force instrument Boston might secretly need. He doesn't shoot threes. He doesn't leap out of the gym. What he does is carve out space like a wrecking ball and suffocate possessions with positioning so precise it borders on obsessive. While everyone else zigged toward finesse, Sorber doubled down on pain. Under the surface, he thrived under Ed Cooley's rugged Georgetown system, which demanded both discipline and chaos management from its bigs. That experience molded Sorber into a low-usage, high-impact centerpiece who doesn't need touches to warp a defense. Now ask yourself, what happens when Al Horford finally calls it quits? When the Celtics defense stops having that silent, cerebral anchor in the middle, Sorber may not look like the answer, but he plays like one. The Celtics have built their modern identity around versatility. Everyone switches, everyone shoots, everyone moves. Sorber breaks that mold. He's not going to run the floor like Derek White. He won't spot up from deep. And yet, maybe that's what makes him so dangerous in this exact context. Boston was exposed late in the playoffs when their lack of interior resistance was punished possession after possession. Their identity on defense, once elite, started to feel theoretical. Could Sorber be the one to bring back that bite, not just on defense, but in the intangibles war? And here's a spiky question no one's asking. Are the Celtics over-reliant on skilled bigs who can't bang down low anymore? Robert Williams' fragility, Kristaps Porzingis' perimeter lean, Al Horford's looming retirement. There's a vacuum of real interior presence forming in Boston, and Sorber might be the only one in this class with the tools and the temperament to fill it. Player comparison. A less awkward Jakob Poeltl, with Walker Kessler's timing and a sprinkle of Luke Kornet's unexpected shooting flash. Let's start with the absurd. For straight years as the Big East's top defensive player, not one, not two, four, you don't stumble into that kind of dominance, you impose it. Kalkbrenner is a rim deterrent in the purest sense of the word. He doesn't chase blocks. He removes options. Offenses rewire themselves in real time just to avoid him. And here's where it gets spicier. Unlike other college bigs who shine defensively, but evaporate on offense, Kalkbrenner also dropped 19 points per game this season on elite efficiency. That's not a role player stat line. That's centerpiece production from a guy who barely needs the ball. His post touches are quick and surgical. His pick-and-roll game, already pro-ready. And the outside shot? It's coming, quietly, confidently. But let's zoom out. Why does this matter so much for Boston right now? Because Kristaps Porzingis is not a long-term guarantee. His body, despite the talent, has more red flags than a Cold War summit. Al Horford, a legend on borrowed time. And while Luke Kornet is a fun puzzle piece, let's be honest, he's not locking down Joel Embiid or Giannis in a playoff series. Kalkbrenner, on the other hand, just might. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't foul. He controls the paint like a librarian controls silent scum. Absolute, and with a terrifying stare. His 7 feet 6 inches wingspan swallows floaters and alters trajectories you didn't think could be altered. He's not just a rim protector, he's a rim reprogrammer. While everyone's busy fantasizing about draft night trades, few are mentioning the quietly brilliant fact that Kalkbrenner spent a full seasons with Baylor Shireman Boston's 2020 for draft pick. Their two-man game at Creighton was lethal. They know each other's timing. They read defenses like twins, finishing each other's sentences. Bringing that connection to Boston's bench unit, that's not just convenient, that's strategic gold. But here comes the uncomfortable truth no one wants to admit. Is Boston to obsess with shooting, to embrace a real defensive anchor? Modern NBA teams are drunk on spacing. They'll take a 6'9" stretch big who can't box out a toddler over a true 7-footer who owns the paint. And yet Boston's own playoff scars have proven that when it matters most, rim protection isn't optional, it's survival. Kalkbrenner doesn't care about the trends. He is the counterpunch. Is Boston about to overlook the most clutch guard in the entire draft? When the lights were brightest, most prospects shrank. Walter Clayton Jr. He took over the damn stage, while the NCAA tournament left dozens of big names exposed. Clayton was ice surgical, fearless, and utterly unbothered. But somehow, as draft boards obsess over measurables and mock projections, the man who literally dragged Florida to a national title might slip through the cracks. And that's where the danger and the opportunity for Boston begins. The real question isn't whether Clayton can play at the next level. It's this: can the Celtics afford to not draft the one guard in this class who's already proven he can win when everything's on the line? Player comparison: Jamal Murray's cold-blooded clutch gene mixed with CJ McCollum's smooth mid-range control. Let's stop sugarcoating it. Clayton was Florida's killer this year. Not just their scorer, not just their leader. They're closer. That's not potential. That's production under fire. He doesn't guess. He dissects, and he does it with the swagger of a 10-year vet. While other guards get flustered by traps, Clayton thrives in chaos. He reads doubles like he's been through a decade of playoff film. His pick-and-roll game is so advanced that defenders often get stuck in no man's land. Do you fight over and give him space to drive, or go under and risk 3 straight threes splashing in your face? Now, Boston has a problem no one wants to admit. There's no guarantee the current guard rotation survives the summer. Jrue Holiday is aging. Peyton Pritchard is a question mark defensively, and while Derek White is a two-way gem, he can't run your offense and be your emergency scorer every time. So what happens when the bench goes cold in a must-win playoff game? What happens when Jason Tatum sits and the ball suddenly has nowhere to go? That's where Clayton becomes more than a luxury. He becomes necessary. He brings more than buckets. He brings nerve. He doesn't panic. He doesn't overdribble. He delivers. That's what Brad Stevens has always looked for in his guards: composure, intelligence, and a killer instinct when the game tightens. Sound familiar? That's Clayton's DNA. But here's the uncomfortable narrative no one's saying out loud. Does Boston trust a 6'2" guard who didn't come from a blue blood school enough to run their offense in moments that matter? It's a risky question, and yet, all the great Celtics teams were built not on safe picks but on bold bets. And betting on a guy who already won a title, already destroyed elite college defenses, and already proved he can lead a team under pressure, that might be the least risky thing Stevens could do. Is this 7-foot sniper the secret weapon Boston can't afford to miss? In a draft full of raw projects and one-dimensional specialists, Maxime Reynaud dares to break the mold. He's not just a center. He's a 7'1" offensive anomaly, a floor stretching, playmaking giant who moves like a wing and passes like a guard. And yet, barely anyone is talking about him. Why? Because he doesn't fit the traditional NBA pipeline narrative. No blue blood pedigree, no viral mixtapes, no flashy dunks. Just ruthless production, dangerous versatility, and the kind of high IQ game that could completely transform Boston's second unit. So here's the question that should haunt every Celtics decision maker on draft night: what happens if Reynaud becomes the next Brook Lopez, and Boston lets him fall to someone else? Player comparison: the shooting of Brook Lopez, the attitude of Rasheed Wallace, and a passing touch that no one saw coming. He's not just a stretch big, he's a system unlocker. In Joe Matsula's scheme, where 5-out spacing and fluid ball movement are gospel, Reynaud is a cheat code. He pulls shot blockers out of the paint. He opens up cutting lanes for Jaylen Brown. He gives Tatum a partner in pick-and-pop action that defenses can't ignore. He's what the Celtics hoped Mike Muscala could be, but taller, stronger, and actually reliable. But let's go deeper. Reynaud's passing might be the real weapon here. Most bigs either pass out of obligation or panic when pressure comes. Reynaud, he reads, he sets up backdoor cuts, makes skip passes off the dribble, and manipulates weak side defenders like he's running a European offense from the high post. Which raises the bigger question: is he actually more valuable to Boston than a traditional rim-running big like Thomas Sorber? Is this mysterious wing the key to Boston's next championship run? Or another draft disaster waiting to happen? Every draft class has that name. The one that no one wants to talk about too loudly. The one that insiders whisper could be a future star if, and only if, the right team has the guts to believe in more than just the box score. In 2025, that name might be Cedric Coward. He's not a social media sensation. He's not backed by a blue blood resume. In fact, he only played 6 games last season. And yet, despite the limited tape, NBA scouts are scrambling. Why? Because Coward might be the rarest prototype in the entire class, a 6'7" two-way wing with defensive versatility, elite catch-and-shoot numbers, and a frame built for postseason wars. The question isn't whether Coward might be good. The question is, what if he's already better than anyone Boston has on the bench right now? Coward wasn't just good. He was devastatingly efficient before going down, shooting 39% from 3 over the past 3 seasons, while guarding 1 through 4 and initiating offense out of chaos. And then came the combine. While others fumbled through drills, Coward exploded, interviews lit up, private workouts went viral in the rooms that matter. Suddenly, this one sleeper turned into a late lottery darling, and now teams like Boston have a decision to make. Do you stand pat and risk watching him explode on someone else's roster, or do you trade up and steal the kind of player who rarely slips through the cracks? And as the league moves toward taller initiators and stronger perimeter defenders, Boston needs wings who don't just survive matchups, they erase them. Coward's unique combination of physicality, instincts, and no ego offense fits perfectly in Joe Matsula's 5-out blueprint. He doesn't need plays called for him. He thrives in flow. He'll take the open 3, crash the glass, guard the hot hand, and disappear into the background until the next critical moment, when he quietly wins a possession that no one else could. But let's poke the uncomfortable bear. Do the Celtics even value this kind of player anymore? Are they willing to risk trading up for a guy with limited recent film, just because the ceiling might be elite?